Meanwhile, you think about the phone.
Okay.
I think there are two things here that separate. One is the problem with build using and how to find reverse dependencies to identify the targets of rebuilds, which is, I would say, an easy to solve problem, and we even have other tools for this. But that doesn't change the problems with the archive. And the same problems that will appear in Rust Haskell when they have security bugs. And we cannot fix that. I don't know what can we do about it. We still need new tables.
Yeah. So we need to find the right people and find a way to help them build the tools, or actually be ourselves proactive in fixing the tools. Well, I'm so sorry. I might be not the best person to actually talk about this issue, because I don't have yet a complete understanding how it works usually. I mean, the DAG system and that. Well, I'm not a DD yet, even if I'm working on that. And yeah, so I mean, well, if anyone has input, ideas, or whatever, I think it would be useful.
I will add. Tina.
Is that on?
One.
It's okay, you continue yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So somebody call my name?
Yeah, Tina. So the problem is from the dark side, because the security archive and the FT master archive didn't share the table. So the risk team or the security team can't schedule BMU for the Go packages in the security archive. That's the problem. But if you want to fix this problem, we need to change the dark, and I don't think there's somebody in the team have good understanding of the dark, and the problem is have been for years, and no one from the FT master or other team have trying to fix the bug. So I think we need to find another way to schedule the rebuild of the reverse packages.
Well, I guess probably
maybe you can try to do a manual NMU, and for example, we create we do a source array change to do the manual work. Yeah, and we just upload it to the security master with many packages. Maybe you can be automatic this way, but I don't think there's some we can change in the dark side.
Well, if there's a bug in DAC, maybe it's. I mean, they haven't. We know there's a bug, and if you have the number of the bug number, it would be nice to have it in the Gobi doc, so that we can research it further. But I mean, if there's a bug and they did not fix it yet, it's probably because, well, they are, as we all are, understaffed. They don't have time, and it was not a big issue for them. But it's a big issue for us, and we need that, and we need to work to fix it, I guess. I mean, if we want something to happen, we have to show that we are at least willing to help fixing that. I mean, that's. For the FTP team or whatever, if they say they don't have the time to fix that, and they don't have an incentive to do it, so I mean, yeah, it's understandable that they won't fix it. And for them, the easy solution says, well, no go in testing, and problem is fixed for them. Well, we are not happy with this solution, of course, and we think our users won't be happy. So we need to, try to find a way to help them. And it's too bad we don't have anyone from the FTP team here. But well, we can probably at least try to map the problem and try to talk with them. I mean, we're at DebConf, that's the right place to do that. Trying to find people and discuss with them to fix issues.
Yeah, I think the maybe we can find some people, but the one who writes the code and writes the patch maybe from the Go team. But I don't think there are somebody well understanding the dark and for example, its code base is very large.
Mm.
But I don't. So I'm not very optimized for this.
Yeah, well, I understand that, and well, I'm not either. But I mean, we have to try. We have to try and maybe ask for help. Maybe if nothing else, there have been people offering their help on this issue, and we don't know their skill set. Maybe they have the right skill set for that. The thing is, in my opinion, we need to first be able to map the issue correctly and say, okay, well, here's the problem. Here's what we need. So here is the code we need to write. Here are the people that will be able to coordinate maybe stuff. Here is how we can test. When we map the problem, it will probably be easier to then try to find people to help us fix it. I mean, once we have this, we can ask for help on Debian Devel, saying, hey, do you use Golang packages? Do you use Docker? Do you use Prometheus? Well, help us so that it stays in Debian. But first, to be able to ask for help, I think we really need to be able to map the problem correctly. And being, clear about what the problem is. And as I was saying, we're here to discuss.
But the problem is very clear at this stage because the issue is just about the security archive. The issue is existing for long, and I don't know the exactly bug number on the BTS, but it's existing for very long.
Okay, well, I haven't seen this bug, so I can't comment on it. But I tend to at least have a look at it and try to. Well, I'm pretty sure if it's been there for a long time, I won't be able to fix it by myself. But we need to understand the issue so that we can find maybe a workaround.
Yeah, I will think about the workaround of this. We instead of fixing the security archive because the workaround may be very simple because we can just to write some automatic tools to create the full source change to the upload to the security archive.
Yeah. Maybe that could work.
We need to do the manual work and we.
Yeah, and then we can automate it on our side. That's what you are saying, and I agree with that. I mean, that could be a workaround, and that could be at least going the right direction and showing that we, as the Go team, we are actually willing to do work so that Go is still a Debian citizen. Okay.
Just a note, I've been adding a couple of topics at the end of the agenda that would be also interesting to talk if you have the time.
Yeah. Could someone take maybe other notes? Well, maybe I'm disconnected from Groby, but I don't see any changes. Well, I saw your items. No, there's nothing. I'm at the bottom.
Notes.
There's no notes.
Is anybody taking notes?
Well, one can't talk and take notes at the same time, so that's difficult. So that's why I wanted to have two people taking notes, if possible. If someone else,
I can try to help, but I cannot hear everything completely, so I cannot do proper notes.
Yeah, well, any notes would be better than nothing, and we can add stuff later. It's fine. We'll report on it anyway. So yeah, we can maybe move on to the items you added, Tina. So support cross-building Go packages and building -dev packages only in stage 1 to break build dependency loop.
I also added the issue with multiple API versions.
Okay, so maybe I'm disconnected from Gobi.
So I can talk a bit about what I added. I didn't start either of those conversations. The first one about cross-building was a proposal made recently. I can't remember the name of the person who did it. Let's open it up. So basically, were some changes to the H Golang, but that will also require a lot of changes in the source packages. But I think this is something we could look at a release goal for the team, or a release target, let's say, to work on this. Seems like a reasonable request to me, although I really don't understand how this works or what needs to be done. Here's the name, Helmut Grune, or how it's pronounced. I don't know if we need to decide much about this. Maybe just decide if we want to try.
Well, maybe you want me to display the bugs. Which one are you talking about right now? I'm sorry, I was trying
The
to
cross-building issue, which is the first item I added.
Okay. Well, let me open a new window so that we can actually see what we're talking about.
Oh, I see my avatar there. I didn't put the camera because I'm still in my pajamas.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry. I mean, we're glad we can hear you at least. Okay, yeah, Helmut Grune.
So we are talking about the cross-building.
Yeah.
I think the patch looks good, but I don't.
Yeah, we could probably at least try to upload the patch to, well, the patch version of the Golang to experimental or something and play with it.
The patch looks good, but
Yeah, I think it makes sense to start with that. I think that the patch could go into unstable. I mean, we should probably try it in experimental first, but I think it was quite innocuous. But then we will, if we decide that this is something we want to do, then we'll need to start changing tooling and adding a new field to every source package.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we also need to add a new field to handle the build using stuff. So I guess that, well, now is the right time in the release cycle to do that, breaking things and adding strange stuff. So, yeah. So
yeah, I think that my proposal is, I muted myself. I said my proposal is that I think we should probably try to do this and see if it works.
Yeah, yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay, and the next item I had added is something I found today while looking at the BoF bugs in the HGolang.
So
I haven't seen it, but it's something I had discussed with some people at some point. And we have a problem with build dependency loops. It happens in a few different packages, and it's probably only going to get worse. The root of the problem is that even though Go doesn't allow you to have circular dependencies at the module level,
yeah.
it doesn't have any problem with circular dependencies at the repository level, which is what we care about. So what happens is that you have a library, like, for example, Prometheus Commons was one of them. that has different modules inside it, which have dependencies that end up being secular dependencies in Debian, but are not secular dependencies in Go. So we have had different workarounds. Sometimes we didn't need a workaround because the bootstrapping was done in a way that there was no secular dependency when we first uploaded, and it grew later. But this is for new architectures, for backports, different things. And it's probably something that we should work as for a sustainable solution. And this stage one thing could be a way to solve it. Although, again, it's a thing I don't really understand how it works well, but probably worth working on it.
Yeah, so we need to look into the DH Golang.
I'm not sure if it works to break the dependencies of the Docker, because I think it's probably very complicated. I don't think it's a stage one build profile will work out.
Why not?
I'm not sure, but it just looks to me very complicated.
I think the idea is that by separating stage one and stage two, you can create a package without the compilation and testing, basically. And so we'll create a package that ships the code, with which you can use to do the stage one and two of the package at the end of the chain, and then you can run the stage two for all packages and bootstrap.
The problem is we build the dev packages. We will also run, for example, Go building or Go testing. We will also need. We didn't just move the source file to the dev packager. If we just in the stage one, we just copy all the Go source file to the dev packager, it maybe works. But there's no difference in currently there's no difference to build the dev package and the actual Docker packages.
So I couldn't hear you well. There's no difference between what?
There's no difference to build out the dev packages or the actual program, or I mean for example Docker or Docker/dev. But
Right, but if Docker has a separate dependency, it's probably because it's creating a library package too, right? Or do you need the actual Docker binary to break the dependency chain?
Because we will run Go build or Go install, and for example the Go command in the when we build the dev packages. So it will also it didn't break the loop dependencies. We can only to break this by, for example, just copying the source file to the dev packages. We don't run any Go command in the stage one.
Yeah, that would be the proposal, basically.
Yeah.
You only run Go build, Go test, Go install in the stage two.
Yeah.
That way, you can break dependency cycles that are only about source code.
Yeah, this is probably what.
Which is the biggest problem we have, I think, with the secular dependency.
So do we have at least an idea of how we could actually fix that? I mean, so the suggestion was to change that in DH Golang, But I think actually I thought it was already what it was doing, DHColang myself. So I refrain to comment further because apparently I was wrong.
I don't know if DHColang has any support for stages.
I
Does
don't
it?
think so. Maybe not.
I think the proposal in that, as I said, I only found it like an hour ago when I was preparing for the meeting. I think the proposal was to add this support in DHColang, and then we will need to modify the packages that have separate dependencies so they use the stages properly. It will require some work, but it's only a few packages that are affected. The big packages, but there are not too many.
Okay. So like, yeah, it would be stuff like Docker, but not the tiny Go binaries that are ubiquitous.
Yeah, no. Well, I think one of the core libraries has a separate dependency too. I don't remember if it was tools or which one. I think there's a separate dependency in one of the core packages, but more reason to fix it because it's something that will bite us time and again. Just a warning, we are almost half an hour into the meeting. We should move on.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's, I mean, we're talking about the most important issues, so it's fine. Well, unless, I mean, nobody beside, nobody else added items. Well, I wanted to talk about this, the status of the new workflow in building Go packages. But I mean, I think it's less important than, for instance, keeping going in testing. So, I mean, yeah, it would be nice.
I think it's a very important thing to discuss here, because this thing started back in 2017 in DebConf, when we had the meeting there, and we agreed more or less on that workflow, but we never marked this as final and like this is the way forward and the others are not correct anymore. So we still have a mixture of packaging techniques. Yeah. And I think it's time that we either adopt it completely and start doing mass changes and asking people to only use the new workflow, or we do something about it because it makes work for everybody more complicated.
Yeah, actually, I've been myself using it without too much issues. I remember there were some bugs in other tools that would cause some problems for us.
I think the main issue was lack of support in the HMakeLand.
Yeah, but if that's only that, that's probably something we can fix.
Yeah, we just need to do it but decide that we need to do it, and that's the way forward, and start saying, especially to new people, you should be using this.
Yeah, I think, well, for me, it's mostly usable. The thing is that since we warn, oh, this is not final yet, well, of course, people are not using it. So that's an issue. Well, I think we should, well, unless someone is really against it, and we can't have consensus as that, we should say, well, there might be some issues, and we'll work them. We'll try to work them, work around them or to fix them. But from now on, the new workflow is the correct workflow. I think we should decide that.
We have like some of us are like 4 or 5 of us who are doing Golang packages. at least in India, we are using the new workflow for a while.
Yeah, that was my understanding too, that people are using it.
And we don't find when people are doing packaging in some, let's say for Ruby team and stuff, and they switch to Go, it's very different for them. They find it a few things different from the usual workflow, but it's much easier. At least for me, it's much easier.
No, I think it fits much better in the Go ecosystem than the more traditional way of using GBP build package, for instance. And I'm mainly active beside the Go team in the Perl team, and yes, the workflow is different, but as long as the tooling is there to help you build the packages, it's fine. Maybe we can. I'm sure there are some things that we could iron out, make the tools, maybe make some scripts, like there are in the Perl team, there are a lot of scripts to make your life easier regarding this. But I mean, that's something we can work on as we go. And it will be, I think it would be best to say right now, okay, well, this is final, this is a new workflow, and if there's a bug in it, or there's a problem, well, we will try to fix it, but all in all, there won't be any large changes in this workflow. It works. So, I mean, are other people here familiar with this workflow thing? Well, so I projected. Well, of course, I can't see the URL, the full URL, but if you go on the Go team pages.debian.org on .net on Salsa. There is, it is put on the front page. I mean, it's listed. But yes, it is listed as a, maybe in the future we'll do that. Oops.
So the decision to try my sound because I was asked to reduce volume more. I hope it's okay now.
So this is the thing.
So yeah, I think the main thing we need to do, if we're in agreement with this, is to update documentation first and foremost.
Yeah. I mean, of course, we need to. I mean, I was meaning to do that. Like, okay, well, let's take a new package and first, check that the documentation is actually accurate because some stuff might have changed, and also document how to migrate to the new workflow from an existing, if we're using, for instance, some kind of common workflow like GBP build package regular without any, as it's used with the default settings, which I guess some people are using probably, maybe most. And then, just document, okay, how to move to this new workflow. Is it possible? Is it hard? Well, that was something I wanted to work on. So yeah.
I can make a proposal. What about if we organize in a few weeks from now, months from now, a day we have a meeting with whoever can attend. We do a jitsi thing like this, and we work on this, and like start an environment, a development environment from scratch. Let's check that works, that or the tooling works, and see what we need to fix.
Yeah.
And fix the documentation too.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So let's, we'll write that in the note and let's announce something on the mailing list and discuss, we'll try to set up a date where interested people can join. And
I want to add the workflow changes 1 to 5, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe it's easy to implement and to enforce, but so we can just take one by one to adopt the new workflow. Maybe the most difficult I've met is to implement the first one, the upstream branch contain upstream Git history.
Yeah, that's a bit difficult to change when you don't have it at first, but yeah, it's possible. I've done it.
So I think we can just maybe you can start from the easy one, for example, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
Yeah, well, at least I'm up for trying a work session, like say a month from now. It would work for me. We just have to find a time that works for every people interested. We'll discuss this on the mailing list. I mean, if other people want to join, please come. It would be nice. And so we can find a time at least where, well, it will be both a way to check that everything is working and also a way for people not used to this workflow to be onboarded. So, yeah. But yeah, I think it's very important that we have. I mean, we have enough issues in the Go ecosystem. It's important that we have something that's consistent in terms of our packages. Otherwise, it will be impossible to do mass changes when they need to be done. And apparently, we will have to do mass changes. So it's very important that we have consistent packaging.
I cannot see the room, and there's nothing new in the notes. But are we agreeing now that the workflow is official and
well, I see people nodding, and no one said, "Oh no, that's horrible." So I will take that as a yes. But I mean, if you have something to say, this is a BoF. Please talk with us. But apparently, well, if no one has anything to say, I would consider that, well, everyone is agreeing. Yeah. Well, no strong feeling.
I'm saying yes.
Okay, well, we have a few yes and no, so I guess we can say we have consensus.
Good, I just added to the notes.
Great. Well, at least that's good progress. Which is good because we're almost at the end.
I added 2 points at the end in the end.
Okay, there was, I think we're done with this topic. There was another topic I had. Yeah, the multiple API versions, so names, etc. So far, we've been doing that very few times, not very consistently. But I think this is becoming more and more a necessity because of how awful some upstreams are. And there were a few mails this week, in particular, about this need people to update library versions, and they're afraid to break things. So I think we need two things. One, make sure that the tooling is telling us when things break for real. I think one tool to revisit is the CI builder in Salsa. That I'm not sure if it's working reliably. I know that had been beaten by it, not telling me what something had broken or giving me too many false positives. I think that will be an important thing to work on. And the other thing will be to work on a policy to say, okay, when we have a library that have multiple reverse dependencies with incompatible API changes, let's start doing like kind of so names and enabling the use of different versions of it. We have it for I think some of the configuration tools, and don't remember what else. But I think we should probably make it official how to manage this.
So the session just before that one, Tina, this is Igo. So they said that to build all the reverse dependency of a package, we need a feature which is commercial in GitLab, and that they are trying to push them to release it.
That would be nice.
What was the suggestion? I couldn't hear
it. Yeah, was the microphone working? Can you? Okay, well, Zigo was saying that in the previous discussion, the previous BoF that was happening here, there was talk about the need to, well, correct me if I'm wrong, Zigo. There was the need to build all the reverse dependency of a package using continuous integration. And for that, it needed a feature in GitLab that is not that is in the enterprise version, so not on Salsa. But Debian apparently, well, the Salsa admins are trying to work on making that into the
Debian CI team is trying to push hard for it.
Debian CI team is trying to to push to have this in Salsa, and of course it needs to be free.
But I think one thing we can talk about on the side or something is like, do we agree that is something that we need and we should work on the policy level, like deciding some libraries will need it to be co-installed with different versions, and this is how we do it?
Yeah, well, personally, I do. I do think it's important, especially since seeing how the Go ecosystem is, and how a lot of upstreams tend to, well, some use the last upstream version anyway, and some use another. All the library providers are not very good at keeping backward compatibility. So yeah, we will bump into this problem more and more often, I think. So we definitely need a policy for that.
I think from the policy, I think we can't handle many versions of the packages in the car. It's too much work because we need to change it. So currently, we're still using the Go path, and we need to change a lot from the DH Golang or other things. But if the packager is needing a different version, maybe just one package or two packages, I think it's okay to just vendor it in its own packagers. But from the archive, the whole archive, we just only want one version.
Yeah.
So the policy in Debian is not to have one version, but two, because you're supposed to be able to do transition. So having two versions is allowed.
Yeah, but the two version is it's from the policy it's allowed, but from the whole it's too much work from currently.
Well, I don't know. I think it would be nice to have a policy saying, okay, well, we can have, when it's an API, we can have multiple versions. Vendoring, I would prefer if we avoided that as much as possible, because that makes it, I mean, looking at the release problems, it will make things even worse if we start vendoring stuff.
I mean, vendoring, I don't say we should encourage this, but if you packagers need to one old version or very new version, and you can't patch upstream or push upstream to change, so maybe you can just vendor one time or two.
Yeah, okay, but I mean, but it has to be done the proper way. That is, we need to add this, and we're almost done. We need to add this. Well, and we need to make it very clear that it has to be an exception, and then the security team has to be aware of that, even if there's no security support for Go right now. But it needs to be. It needs to be really an exception, and we need to document every exception there is. Otherwise, there will be never any security support for Go, and that would be sad.
I didn't follow exactly why. The way I've been implementing it when I needed it, should be transparent for the release and security teams, because it's just a different source package with different independent binaries and everything. So for everybody else, it just looks like a different package.
Yeah, I would prefer this solution too. And we're apparently done. So, well, what I suggest, Well, no, we're not done, but I mean, we're out of time. So what I suggest is that, well, we'll put as much as possible in the notes, set up a report, and continue this discussion on the mailing list. Please participate. Okay, well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody, for being there.
Well, thank you for coming, being with us too. And well, thank you all. And yeah, let's try to handle this problem and discussing this, at least on the mailing list.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Tina.